All right, so welcome to the Friday morning Builders Call. I want to kick this off with, let's do the question and answers as far as what you guys are struggling with, and then we'll kind of get into a couple of other things. But what items from a interview standpoint, from a Vecida standpoint, any of the system standpoint with the recruiting side, what items are some of you guys struggling with? And if you aren't struggling with anything, great. And we might have a couple of things we'll talk through, but what items are you guys struggling with as it relates specifically to the recruiting side of things?
Can I tee one up?
Good.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm having a hard time with filling out contracting paperwork given the old system that we are using. Is there a new solution that we can use to send contracting paperwork to people where they won't make mistakes?
Buddy, I would love to answer that, and that is a phenomenal question. I think we should go through that today. What do you think? All right, so contracting solution. That's great. So, Ron, what did you have?
I had using the Vecida to set up
Talk louder.
on our own. To set up our appointments on our own so that we have the ability to have them set the appointment. If we don't set it, you know, how do you most effectively do that?
Okay, perfect. So using Vecida for other appointments. Okay.
Sure, Yvette can speak to that.
Yes, and there's some clear pros and cons to doing that. So we can talk through that. Anyone else have any other clear things that they would like to have covered? Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to share my screen. I want to go straight into Chris's question first. I'm going to show you some backside items that you may not have seen. I am actually going to go over to the agent training side first to make you guys aware of, let's assume you've gone through interview 1, interview 2, you've gone through the entire process. Hey, you're ready to get started. They've already gone through the getting started. They're in Slack. I'm assuming you guys kind of know some of this stuff. But again, you're going to see on your screen kind of the process. So you tell them to go down and click on the Colburn Agency. You tell them to go through this process here. They get down to the bottom and they say, okay, well, I'm licensed. I'm ready to go. I've already done my pre-licensing, done the license coach or the Excel. And when you come into here, you're going to see this new step in here, the step 2 contracting paperwork. There is no PDF. There is none of that, okay? This is the part that's brand new, literally brand new within like a week and a half, okay? So it's new enough to where there's a little frustration on our end to know all the ins and outs. We're learning the systems. Jen's learning the systems. We're learning how to process applications this way. So just bear with us, but it is much more efficient, okay? So you would select your whatever your direct agency up. So whether it's me, whether or not it's Chris, and you would put in, this is where they would put in their name, Bob Smith. And I'm just going to show you the process here. Let's say that we'll go to, okay, my email, recruiter's name. Let's say that Bob was recruited by Ron Dilbert. Okay. And I think Ron, I think it's rondilbert@gmail.com. All right. I'm going to show you guys how this works. Okay. So I'm going to hit submit. And this is the initial part that the agent is going to do. They're going to request. They literally request the contracting paperwork to come through. And within any second here, I should get the actual request. when I get an invitation in my email box, okay, that someone has completed the request, and I'm going to find you an example real quick. Okay, I'll show you this one here. This is what the request. Let me reshare this because all you're seeing is. I'm going to do a new share. Okay, so I get an email that looks like this. Okay, so-and-so, this is someone that's new in the Santos agency. Megan Patrick is requesting the SFG contracting link. I get the email, all this stuff, you know, I would end up, and this is my side of things, okay? So the invitation goes to the manager. The manager then clicks on this link. They end up logging into their portal. I'm already logged in, and I would end up filling this form out for the person, okay? Bob Smith, Mike.ada@Colburn@gmail. I was just going to show you how this works. I end up putting their percentage, their contract level, their direct upline.
So Mike, you're
Ron
filling this out,
Dilbert.
not us, right?
That's correct. I'm doing this, okay? The manager sends out the invitation for them to complete the contracting paperwork, okay? So I fill all this out. We have this set up to do specific things. I hit submit. The agent gets a link that takes them to this. They will get their own link, okay? It's going to have their own information in it. This is a blank one. But it will have all of their name. It'll have their contract level. It'll have who they're direct to already pre-set up, and they can't change it, okay? So it's important that you follow the agent training process. Now, when an agent goes through this, and this is the beautiful part, when an agent goes through this, they cannot screw this up unless they can't type, okay? You can't, there's no way for us to fix if someone, you know, can't type in the proper license number, or they can't, you know, put in their correct Social Security number, any of that stuff. But the number one and number two areas that we have the most issues with in contracting is, the first one is when they go to put in the dates, you know, like employment dates and where you've lived. Those two items. The number one thing that we have issues with is gaps. And so the way this is designed, if it's correctly done, the way this is designed is to make sure that those dates there are no gaps, okay? So it won't allow them to submit this paperwork unless the gaps are correctly done, okay? So that's the first one. The second one is EFT forms. They're correctly done now. They don't have any of the issues that we had before. People would handwrite those. Those are typed out correctly. Again, we can't prevent someone from typing the wrong information. We can't prevent someone from uploading an improper check or scan documents that are totally, you know, off or something of that nature. We can't prevent that, but this should be a clean line process, okay, for what we're trying to achieve from a contracting. Now, if they don't fill it out correctly, so what happens is they complete this, they submit it, it ends up coming to our HR email, which is what Jen is paying attention to on the contracting side. She ends up scrubbing everything. She looks and makes sure it's corrected. And let's assume that the agent has to correct something, okay? There is a link that ends up getting sent to them when they fill out the contracting paperwork. There's a link that they have that they can click on, go back in and log into their contract using their Social Security number, make the correct updated information, hit submit, and it goes back to Jen, okay? So one of the things that you guys are going to have to help us do is make sure that you understand this process and that you understand how to communicate with the new agents on what their role is. It isn't just complete the contracting, be done, and they sit back and nothing else has to be done. They got to be in clear communication with Jen. If something has to be done or completed or it hasn't been completed, then they need to get on it. They need to make sure that those items are done quickly and that they know where to go back to that link in order to get that completed. Because otherwise, these just sit in limbo, okay? The one downside that we don't have on this yet, they're working on this, okay? But there's no way for us to go into the back side of this and see where people are in the process, okay? There's some compliance issues. There's some security issues with, again, with people's social security numbers, getting people, all that stuff, okay? And I'm showing you here, actually, I'll show you the email that I just got. So I just got this that came in. Bob Smith is requesting, a link. That's the one we just did. So it comes in. I would end up clicking on this invitation, filling out the form, setting it up, and then it would be their responsibility to fill it out. There is no way for us to know if they've completed it until they've hit submit and it properly comes to us. So your job when you're recruiting these people, your job is to make sure you're staying on them with, when can you get the contracting paperwork done? When can I count on you to get it done? Can you get it done by today, 6 o'clock? Yes. Okay. Can I count on you? Like, again, you're going to hear that language a lot. We got to have clear expectations. We got to know exactly when it's going to be done, so that if it doesn't come in and Jen doesn't get the contract, you can ask her, hey, did you receive such and such? No, it's not done yet. Okay, then you can go back to the agent and say, hey, you said it was going to be done. What's the holdup? Okay,
Yeah,
so
and I would just address that. That has continually been something that we have worked on as an agency to refine and develop that level of expectation and that clear communication. In the beginning, Mike, I know that was something that we both struggled with, and I think we had a lot of loss that would be around at this point in time if we would have done a better job of setting that level of expectation, expediting the process, making it easier. Now you guys have this as an advantage and opportunity. The two things you can do, like you said, just set a clear level of expectation with them. Don't push them, don't be cruel, but say, hey, I need to know when you're going to have this done. Do you have it done by tomorrow? Can you have it done by today? Whatever that is, it's going to get them in the process of following, clear expectations, keeping that high, but it's also going to keep your people more likely to come across. By limiting the amount of times that they can trip and stumble, the more likely you are to grow and scale faster because of that.
totally agree. I will show you, I'm not going to show you the contract itself, but I will show you what it looks like when someone completes it. This is what we get back. It's the actual contract. It's successfully completed. Jen then goes in and scrubs the overall contract, makes sure that everything is good. If there is something that needs to be updated or something that's not clear enough, a scan or some of that nature that is not clear enough. And I will tell you that there are only two types of things that can be uploaded from a scan standpoint. It's JPEGs and PDFs. You cannot do PNG files. You can't do TIFF files. You can't do GIF files. It's got to be PDF. I kind of got a crack out of that GIF file. But it's got to be.
It's GIF, you Luddite.
I know that. It's funny when it's what I get in response to that is the funny part. So PDFs and JPEG files are the only two files that are allowed on the uploads. Okay, so we take it from here. Jen's job from here is completing these, getting them done, communicating with the agent. And you can see, guys, if people aren't in Slack, there's no way for Jen to communicate. It is a nightmare to try to communicate back and forth through email, okay? So you have to have these people in Slack in order for Jen to be able to do her job effectively and not pull her hair out, okay? Any questions about that process?
Hey, Mike, my question wasn't about that specific process, but the screenshot you have up right now, on my agent login, I have lost the 10 steps. I only have the 5 steps now, and I'm locked out from them because I haven't completed the 5 steps. I completed the 10 steps. So I don't have access to any of those resources anymore, and I don't know if that's affecting me uniquely or anyone else. But
So no, I'm glad you brought that up. That was a recent update that Matt did to the system. So we have tried to go from the 10 steps, and don't be confused. They're actually not different. I can show you this. The 5 steps The only reason why you see it on my screen is I have admin access, so I have like literally every bit of information that's on this I have access to. So
is there a way to
what
admin mine done so I can get access again without having to go through the modules? Because I can't
Yeah.
jump in any of the resources or any of the stuff at this point because of the 5 steps.
Yeah,
And
yes, I can.
all right, I almost
I can
panicked
do that.
yesterday as I was looking for something, and I'm like, I can't get to it right now. So
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. So let me, and I'm glad you brought this up because this will be good as people come in to help them understand. So the 5 steps, what we've done is we've taken one of the complaints that we've had in onboarding people and making sure that people are retaining information is that we ask them to go through the 10 steps and they literally do this, okay? They will literally go through, okay, step 1, so step 1, okay, yeah, you're going to see a lot of added stuff here. Okay, yeah, I've gone through this. Yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah, I understand it. Perfect. Okay, let's go to the next one. Like literally, that's what happens. Okay, and you talk to people and you ask them, did you go through the 10 steps? Well, yeah, I skimmed through them. Yeah, no, we don't need you to skim through them. Okay, we are asking you to train yourself. Okay, so what we've done is we've taken all that content and we've put it into classes, and you have to complete quizzes at the end of these modules to show that there's competency. So we're trying to refine that. So that's really what has happened, Sean, is you haven't completed that competency side, but you already completed the 10 steps. So I'll ask them to adjust that. But just so you know, when you have a recruit coming in, they need to know that they need to complete that 5-step course, okay? Complete it, get it done. There's quizzes, make sure you study. And once there's a certain level of competency, and guys, people can always short circuit this stuff. If they want to be an idiot, they can go in there and they can answer the questions, and finally find the right ones and keep progressing through, and that's not going to show that they have competency, okay? But if they do it the way it's supposed to be done, with your direction and leadership and guidance and helping them through it, then they'll get it done completed correctly, making sure that they have competency, and they'll be able to have all of the stuff opened up. So it's my understanding, and I'll make sure that this is correct. It's my understanding that when the 5 steps of success are completed, it unlocks all the access to all the other information so you can go search it and go through and have access and do all the other things. That's my understanding, okay? So I will get that done on your side, Sean, as quickly as soon as we get done here, I'll send an email and have it done.
perfect. And I may go
Actually,
through them anyway just to do it again. But yeah, it would kind of freak me out when I was headed for an appointment and couldn't get to the info. So
I'll do you one better, and Jen just said that she'll send the email while we're on the call here.
perfect. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Jen.
They said thank you. All right, so any other questions? That was great questions. Appreciate that a lot. Okay, so let's go into the second part. Let's dig a little bit into Visita more, which is what Ron had asked. Let me get this pulled up on my screen. All right. So there's a couple of things, and we're going to do kind of a refresher because, again, Visita continues to update things. They continue to add items. Sometimes things adjust and change. And so sometimes there can be some confusion on how to do things and what to do. But some of you have asked, we've talked about it in previous conversations, can I use Visita to schedule other types of meetings, whether that's mentor meetings with other agents, or whether that's mortgage protection meetings or anything of that nature? First of all, yes, and I can take it one step further. You can use this calendar to schedule everything, okay? So literally, guys, if you wanted to come in here and say, I want to schedule this time right here, and I want to block it off as busy, you can use Visita to control your entire calendar if you want, okay? So you don't have to just say, add an appointment. You can say, okay, well, I'm busy on these days. You can title it, and you can say I'm busy doing phoning, or I'm busy doing whatever, so that you don't get automated scheduled appointments on that time, or it's blocked. And this syncs with your Google Calendar. So you put it here, it's going to put it there. You put it on your Google Calendar, it's going to put it back on this calendar, okay? So that's one thing I'll make kind of a comment on. The second thing is if you're wanting to schedule an appointment with an individual, they first have to be considered a client, okay? So if you're going in here and you're putting an appointment on the calendar for, you know, say a new, like, Victoria Baldwin. I don't have anyone, I can't put that person in here because I don't have that individual in the system. So you have to first create a client. You have to have their email, okay? And you'll notice that their email, it doesn't have an asterisk next to it. So it will work for them not to have an email, but you have to remember that if you don't, put an email in here, they're not going to get any reminders, none. Okay, they're not going to get any updates. They're not going to get anything at all. It's just literally you. They're not going to see any of it. They're not going to get any of the branding at all. So it's not really an effective use. Is it required? No, but it's not effective. Okay, so make sure you put their email, all this stuff in, ideally address, their time zone, all of that stuff. And then at the bottom here, send a client a link. If you're doing this with another agent, or you're mentoring someone and you want to schedule a mentor session, or, you know, let's say it's a mortgage protection meeting and you don't necessarily want them to have an account, you know, you don't want them to get an email saying, hey, welcome to Colburn Financial, you know, here's your account. Then uncheck this and it sets the account up, but it doesn't notify them of the actual account setup. Okay. Now, someone just mentioned, hey, this is the first time I'm seeing this. Sean, you'll get aware of this as we plug you into the cold market side, because this is all the scheduling system for everything we do inside of the cold market scheduling. And there's a couple of other, I'll encourage you to watch a couple of other videos that are posted on agent training on specifically that side of the training. So don't freak out too much. You'll get some additional training on kind of what this is. This is all the backside of Colburn Financial, the scheduling, the automated scheduling, you know, all of that through. And I think you saw some of this, Sean, when you came through the recruiting process. You got the emails from Colburn Financial. All that stuff was through this system. Okay. So to answer Ron's specific question, and I think one of the questions that you had, Ron, was, I know we were talking about this yesterday, can you schedule a meeting and have the client set the new time? Okay, instead of saying, here's the link, and, you know, like traditionally when you go to the overview, you click on it and they schedule it on their end. Ron was asking, can we, if someone misses a meeting or something of that nature, can we basically respond in a way that allows them to schedule the time back? And correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, is that kind of the question you were asking yesterday?
Well, we're talking about branding, and I wanted to use this for a lot more of what I do, including meeting with my team for them to be able to set up appointments in here. But when I originally had gone on to set up an appointment, it didn't give me that option for them to set it. I had to put a time in.
Okay, because they're not inside of the system yet. You'd have to create them as a client. That's what he was doing.
Right, and that's
well.
What I
and the other thing,
yeah.
Yep. Well, and the other thing I'm going to say is if everyone on this call is okay with it, I will set up a new service. Okay. In here, we've got certain services, and we've got agent advisor services, that are in here that are all recruiting, you know, the interview process, I can set up a service that they mentor, like agent mentor session. If you guys will find that valuable and you'll use it, I can set it up as like a 30-minute mentor session if you guys will use it. Just recognize that when people go to Colburn Financial, okay, just recognize something when I do this. And I might be able to switch this up, but when they go to the schedule portal, inside of here, all of these services are available: agent advisor services, client services, okay? So if I put the mentor session here, I can do it one of two ways. I can make it to where it's available on the menu, or I can make it available off the menu, and it's something that you would just be able to schedule on your own, okay? The only way someone else is going to be able to see it like an agent is if I make it available for everyone to see. And so if they go to the scheduling link, they could schedule a mentor session. What happens sometimes, though, and I'll make this very clear, if it's on this menu and someone goes to Colburn Financial schedule portal, they shirk the system, they don't go through the system processes, and they get access to this, they'll just schedule something randomly. Okay, they don't often read these and what they're for, even though they're very specific. You know, I get people that haven't ever met, haven't done this at all, and they schedule this one. Like, what? I don't know why people don't read. I don't have any idea. So I'm okay with putting it on here, but I need a census from you guys as the building team. I need a census from you as your building. Would you appreciate having a mentor session service on here that you could use with your agents as a scheduling option?
I would, especially since we're looking to brand this with everything we do. Is it possible to get another header on there under client services to agent services? Would that help?
Well, this is agent advisor services. So we've got agent, we've got client services.
But I think that is a really good segue to the other thing that I wanted to talk about while we were on the call, which is the continued branding.
Well, segue in.
Okay, sure. Sorry. Hopefully that helped, Ron. Let's back up one step though, and I would say, as far as scheduling it for client meetings, I would actually, and Yvette, I know, dealt with this. I would get away from using it for client meetings simply because it's a really easy opportunity for a client to cancel because they're going to get an update an hour beforehand, and there's no pain threshold for them to simply click reschedule or cancel. So I would not do it for client-facing meetings.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with, guys, if you want to use this for your own side and not, you know, you can schedule meetings in here so that it reminds you, but I would agree with Chris. We have seen a large number with the reminders that go out and with the way the leads are generated. I think it's a mistake to use this for the lead generated mortgage protection meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you meet with someone and they're referral based, okay, and you want to plug them in here, and that's totally different, okay? But I don't think that this is a good system to use for the lead-based mortgage protection meetings. I think you're going to get a lot larger fall-offs using it.
Yep, absolutely. And it's something that you need to realize is just a component of the character of the leads that we're working with and their personalities. It's not their first time to purchase insurance as far as having the opportunity. There's a reason why they haven't purchased yet, and oftentimes just because they're not self-responsible enough to follow through. And if you give them any opportunity to slide out of it, they will. It's not that they don't want to in their head or in their heart, but it's that they're just usually not responsible enough to follow through on commitments. And so you just give them the opportunity to continue their path of self-deception if you do that. But segueing into what I was going to say, and Ron, I'm assuming that you probably had a conversation with Mike about this.
guys, we feel wholeheartedly that 2018 is going to be an amazing year for this company. And it's going to be a year where we continually develop and brand ourselves and separate ourselves. And I have to say, for me, one of the biggest things that we've done personally that I can feel on the growth side is that separation of philosophy and character and mentality from Symmetry. It's not that we're better. It's not that we're different. It's nothing to do with that. It's just that we are a facilitative firm that can do more. We're a real group with levels of leadership, peer-to-peer mentorship. We have the opportunity to do more. And as we continually develop that and speak to that and express that in initial interviews, that will gain so much traction. Mike and I met with a video media team we meet on Wednesday. Is that when we met? And we're going to possibly do a new corporate overview that will speak to this. But the video and the money that we're going to spend on it only matters so much if you guys don't know how to address it afterwards. I'm sure each one of you has had an interview where someone said, yeah, I've been inundated with recruiting emails from Symmetry. What makes you guys different? And if you can't knee-jerk immediately answer that, then you're wasting your time, frankly. You need to hear what it is that I say. You need to hear what it is that Mike say. You need to figure out basically what you feel comfortable with, but you need to have an immediate response to that. And as we continue to do that, and really in a valued perspective, say, Symmetry is a great company. You can have success with them. We use Symmetry a lot as a system and a tool. We believe in them. They're great. But we are simply a company within a company, if that's the way you want to think about it. We're a financial planning firm. We believe in earnest leadership. We're a meritocracy-based system. And we believe in a culture of success, gratitude, and plenitude. And if you can just speak to that, just kind of short, that's all it is.
Yeah, the other thing that I would say one of the other common responses as you're interviewing, and then we'll go into, I do want to show you guys a couple of things that I think will be helpful as you're learning these building systems to be able to go back and kind of watch some of these videos and what we put together for some of the training stuff. But I was having a conversation yesterday with a newer recruit, and one of the common areas that people get really nervous when they interview, a question that comes up that people get really nervous with is, yeah, I know I've looked at this and this kind of feels like an MLM.
Yeah.
Like, have any of you, like, in the meetings I've been in with other agents that try to answer this, there's an immediate sense of like, here, like, oh crap, like they brought up the elephant in the room, and it's kind of comical because it doesn't need to be an elephant in the room.
No.
You need to have a very clear response to that type of question. The answer that I give personally is very, very clear and concise. First of all, MLM has to do with distribution of product. Okay, so when you're talking about how product gets distributed, MLM, you have to buy the product itself in order to get commission on the sale of other products. So in an MLM structure, you would have to, in the insurance world, you'd have to buy a piece of business in order to sell outside. Okay, so this is a regulated industry, meaning that the state regulates it. MLM is not regulated in that manner, okay, first of all. And second of all, because the state regulates it so heavily, you're not churning, which is what MLM, I mean, you'd be churning, product if you were forced to buy and then sell to someone else. So it's actually MLM inside of an insurance organization would be borderline illegal. And they're really the closest you can get to an MLM structure inside of an insurance is Primerica. That's the closest you can get. They're not MLM but the way they recruit is you would get paid. You get paid a referral fee when you recruit. And so we don't do that. We don't pay referral fees when we recruit. None of that happens. So have a very clear response. The other thing I would say to it is, guys, if you think MLM is MLM because it has structures of hierarchy, then you're greatly misunderstanding what MLM truly is. Every corporation has hierarchies, okay? Is Apple an MLM because you have an owner, you have VPs, you have CEOs, are they MLM? No. Is Walmart MLM because you have tellers all the way up to general managers and vendors and all the other stuff? Are they MLM? No. So when you're very candid with people in those responses, we're not anything close to it. But I would also finish with this. If you think we are, and that's what you're going to bring into our culture, then this is not a good fit.
Absolutely. And I know Omar asked that because he didn't understand it. He had never seen, that degree of transparency. And I think he's on the line. I'm talking for him. But that was exactly what I said. If that's what you want and that's what you want to think this is, maybe this isn't the right fit for you.
That's exactly what he told me.
Good deal. So I think that is there anything else that you want to cover on that, Chris?
No, I really want you guys to not be afraid to learn more. I think a lot of you guys interview at such a superficial level because you're afraid to know the greater details. You're afraid to understand the concepts and the philosophical ramifications of the greater differentiations. There's nothing wrong with symmetry. There's absolutely nothing wrong with symmetry. And I'm not saying there is. There are people that use symmetry as a craven tool to just throw recruits in and they never help them, for sure. And because this is being recorded, I'm not going to throw out names, but we know who I'm talking about. And
yeah,
do they run it like us? We are a legitimate scaling firm with levels of hierarchy and management. And if the fact that we make it transparent makes you think it's an MLM, this isn't the right fit for you. If you think the meritocracy-based system where you can advance just as high as I can and you can go past me, if you think that's a scam, maybe this isn't right for you. But if you want to belong to something that's bigger and greater than you, then yeah, we can have a conversation about that. But you need to really learn to differentiate that perspective, because the reality is that as symmetry grows, you're only going to come across this question more and more. And as we continue to grow and we take up more marketplace and more presence, we grow nationally in areas, you're only going to get asked this question more. You need to be able to bat it away right away. Because we're coming from a
couldn't agree more.
And I hope you guys realize, in all honesty, we're coming from such a position of strength. I would encourage everyone who doesn't understand that, who doesn't explicitly feel that when I say that, get to conference. See some of these other people and how they run their systems and the fractious, toxic relationships they have with their upline. We have people that would just clamor to join us. If they knew what we're doing, and if they thought they had an opportunity, they would do everything they could to come and join this group, because they're already working with symmetry and they're having some success, but they're getting no help. They're out in the wild, out in the cold.
So let me ask this. This is Ron, just really quickly. The other question that I field quite often is, well, if you're Coborn Financial and you're tied to symmetry, what's the difference? And I'm sure other people have gotten that.
That's literally what I just answered.
Yeah, that's a lot of what Chris was covering, and I think it's important that, again, you've heard me say this before. Objections, whether they're inside of a meeting, kneecap to kneecap with a potential client, or whether they're inside of an interview, the quicker you get to them, the quicker and the better and the more professional the whole thing gets resolved. So knowing that becomes one of the big questions, I think I would encourage all of you to make sure that you have a well thought out response to that. I would ask each of you, what do you think makes us different? Because if you don't think we're different, if you don't think that we have any additional value than just a traditional Symmetry, agency, then therein lies the concern and the problem. I would tell you my response. Okay.
If you don't have a response that you earnestly feel, then maybe you don't need to be recruiting with Colburn Financial.
And that's not to call anyone out. That's just be aware of we have a big opportunity here in how we're recruiting. We're recruiting very effectively. Our numbers show that we're very effective. And so a lot of that has to do in the responses that we have inside of the recruiting process. Is, man, you guys have great reviews. You're super professional. I've interacted with other Symmetry, people. I just got off the phone with a guy that's coming on board just this morning. He's been waiting to get his Texas license, which has taken forever. But he called me after he had interviewed with someone else and said, I've personally tried to find who I want to work with, and I found you. I saw you on a video. I've seen what you guys are about. I want to join your agency. And I'm not going to say the person that they interviewed with, but this person is an extremely effective producer. Okay? So it isn't all about, you guys got to understand, when you're recruiting, it's not all about whether or not you're the largest producer. It's about the culture. We say this all the time. It's the culture. It's the training. It's the support. It's the camaraderie. It's what we have that makes us different than anyone else. And so you've got to be able to convey to the traditional person what sets us apart. Why would I want to work with Colburn Financial? You got to understand that, and Ron, you heard some of what we talked about when we interacted with the gentleman the other day that has investment experience. That is a huge attractive opportunity with us, in that you can work with Colburn Financial, have your securities licensing, plug into all of our systems, plug into everything that we're doing, and still not be shirked by, a corporate structure from an investment standpoint. We don't care if you use Charles Schwab. We don't care if you use LPL. We don't care if you are partnered up with a local firm that does advisory work. You can still utilize our systems, and that's the beauty of working with us. So I would encourage everyone. I would encourage everyone to answer that question for yourself. You need to be able to answer, why did you pick Colburn Agency? Why did you pick Colburn Financial? Because everyone on this call, with the exception of Ron, every single one of you came in the cold market system.
Yeah, and I would, if you don't have the answer yet, that you can speak to in a 30-second to 1 minute response that is well thought out and has not only facts but actual clarity and emotion behind it, then you need to get in touch with us, and we will have a conversation with you. And I would just continually beat that drum of go to conferences, be on conference calls that are national, be aware of the difference. Because the more you're around the greater Symmetry system at large, the more you're going to have just more appreciation and perspective for it. But as far as like Mike was speaking to, the ability and what Mike has really spent a lot of effort in building out the corporate website, doing things like this. No one else has that, guys. You have to realize that. No joke. No one has that. I was talking to Brad the other day. And he said, there's about right at 100, agency owners inside of Symmetry. Owners, a guy could have 10 owners underneath him, but no one has the ability to do planning like we do. Ron, I'm working on a case with you, $50,000 in premium, right?
Yep.
No one would be able to handle that. Just lost money. Legitimately. People can't handle that. No one's going to video conference in and and run a comparative scenario comparison analysis with, a Monte Carlo regression. That's not something that exists. You're really coming from a huge position of strength on the technology side, on the planning side, and the investment side. But you're also coming from a huge position of strength in the culture, from the edification, from the continued training and mentoring, the peer-to-peer mentorship, the accountability.
And
I'm not joking.
it's only gonna get better as you interact, because we're very, very cutting edge. I mean, we're constantly, you guys don't see a lot of that. We're constantly looking for ways to tweak the system and add additional, streamlining, doing the corporate overview, redoing, investing money into it. Like, we're constantly trying to reinvest. And I'll be honest with you, no one else has what Matt and Brad have built.
Nope.
That whole training site, as sometimes as cumbersome, sometimes that we can feel like it can be, I will be very transparent that there's not a single person in agency that has that process. Most of them use strictly what's on sfglife.com. That's all you get. That's it.
Yeah.
So you think that it's difficult to get started with all of our resources? Go to Symmetry's website and see all the resources they have, and that's what, no joke, some of the very large large agencies still use. That's it. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of added value. You need to put it in your own words. It needs to be you. And I think I would answer that with, why did you choose? And everyone's question, the answer is going to be different to that. Ron, your answer might be different. It could be very simple as, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be in this business if it wasn't for the leadership, or it wasn't for, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I joined because of X, Y, and Z, and I partnered up with this firm because of X, Y, and Z, and I didn't even know some of the stuff I was getting into, but now that I'm here, I didn't realize how good of a decision I'd made. That's very authentic, transparent. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay.
Yeah.
So think of that. Think of that.
Into it.
Yeah. Think of that response on your own. Before we go, because we've got 5 minutes or so, I do want to cover just a couple of quick things. And I'm going to share the screen again just to give you kind of an idea on a couple of things. First of all, by the way, I want to say this, Chris. I absolutely love hearing you talk and seeing like part of a chair. That's really awesome, by the way.
Well, I knew I was going to talk about this, and I was going to talk loud, and so I went to the other room. So
you're fine. It's like,
shouting.
I'm just telling you, the video is going to be great because like you can really see how you feel in the video. So that's great.
Well, I'm so passionate about it. I can't sit down. How about that?
I love it. So when you guys, I want to make you guys aware of something, okay? I want to make you aware of a new part of the website that's just our agency, okay? This is only to our agency. So I posted it in Slack, but when you go to the website now, you will not see a training thing on top. Some of you guys use the training videos. You'll see either this or the resources tab, and you should see this video and audio training. And if it takes you to the right spot, you should see the Colburn Financial Colburn Agency at the top. This is literally, and we're updating this every single week, okay? So we got some frustration from some of you guys that, hey, I remember you posted such and such in Slack, but now I can't find it, okay? So what we're going to start doing is, yes, we'll continue to post things in Slack. We may end up posting direct links instead of actual videos so that you have them. But guys, if you need something that we have done on our mentor sessions, all of our recordings are going to be up here, okay? If you need something in our Builders Corner, now I have not updated these to say the topics yet of what was discussed, but Sean, I'll just mention this for you. If I were you, I would come through and watch every single one of these because there's a progression in these where we talk about the beginning stages of recruiting. We talk about the systems. I think the second one here, I could be wrong, but I think the second one talks about, let me see. That one did not do video training. it was either the first or second or third, I can't remember, talked about, right here. So we talk about the training on Visita, okay? So you're going to get some training, you're going to hear the ins and outs, but I would definitely go through, especially as new individuals come in, if you recruit someone in that starts spending time on the builder's call, encourage them to go back, look at these. There's going to be interviews that we do as far as like how we do introductory interviews. All of those calls that we've done to help you guys get started where you're at, they're all here. You can still get the master agency items. You can still get the SFG audios. Hey, welcome back, Chris. You can still get all of those items. But what you'll find over the next several weeks, over the next month, what you're going to find is we're going to rebrand agent training so that you're going to see our agency will see all of our specific items will have this Colburn agency at the top so that we can continue to brand out Colburn Financial and the Colburn agency as people come from the recruiting process into the training process. Okay? So make sure you guys can see this. This should be tagged for every single person that's tagged in the master agency, the Colburn master agency. Everyone should see this. So just take the time today. Make sure that you're seeing some of this. If not, then we'll have to retag. We want to make sure it's accurate so you guys are getting it. And I would encourage all of you and your downlines, all the people you're recruiting, tell them to go back and look at these mentor sessions. Guys, these are some good mentor sessions. Projecting onto the client, open-ended questions, open for questions, in-home presentation, like all these items we've done, video, mentor update. If you want to know how to use the mentor, the virtual mentor, you need to have them watch that because that's the session that we did on all that when we kicked it off back in September or thereabouts, okay? So utilize this, and I would encourage you also as a team of leaders to also tell the team that you're utilizing this. It's you guys' job. Let's say you go and you watch one of these mentor sessions and you like, man, that's such a good one. Go remind people, hey guys, you need to go watch this on this particular link. So glad we have this access to this mentor sessions so that everyone else is encouraged to use the same thing. Okay? You guys are the ones that are building really at the core of building our culture as builders. Okay. The other thing I want to mention before we jump off is I do want to make you aware of the events tab. You guys remember hearing the United Executive Tour, okay? If you're wanting to know any of these dates, go to the events tab, click on the calendar in February. You're going to see, obviously, February, we've got the Thrive. But down here is the specific dates for all of these locations and where we're going to be. Now, remember, you need to register for these, okay? Does it cost anything to register, first of all? But second of all, if you register to an event, I need you to register with a mindset that you're going to have 10, 15 people there, okay? You don't have to be at every single one of these, okay? I know Sean and I have talked about Grand Rapids. I think it's awesome that they're coming to Grand Rapids. We've got a huge opportunity with Detroit, Lansing, with Flint, with Grand Rapids and that area to really get a good, solid group of people. So if you're going to Grand Rapids Executive Tour, sign up for it, register. You don't have to go to all of them, but use these, okay? If you're not going, but you have someone in your agency that's close by, okay, get them to one of these tours so that they can then, in turn, recruit 5 or 10 people that's going to kind of jumpstart their recruiting process. Leverage these. These are going to be back-to-back. A lot of our leaders are going to literally fly to Orlando, one-way ticket, then to Austin, then to Kansas City, then to Salt Lake and back home.
Actually, they're renting a jet.
Yeah, I know.
I want you guys to, and I'm saying that not necessarily to be funny, but they're literally renting a jet. That's how much time and money and effort that they're spending on this. So please make them feel like they're not wasting their time by renting a jet. It's a lot
and
of money
this is
coming out of their account. He told me how much it is, and it's an eye-watering number that they're using to make this happen.
Well, and don't feel too bad for them because the money that's coming out, there's much more going in. So don't feel too bad for them. But guys, this is a huge opportunity for you guys to leverage an opportunity to have the key people. I mean, you're talking about Pritchett, Delaney. I'm telling you guys, if there were 3 people that I would want in a room, or 3 groups of people, it would be Pritchett, Delaney, and the Smith brothers. Like if you want a powerhouse group of people, those 3, okay, I would just sit back and recruit to it. I don't need to be on stage. Like just y'all talk. I mean, they're phenomenal, okay? I would spend hours listening to Delaney. The guy is a wealth of knowledge, okay?
Same thing I was gonna say. I love Brad. I love Edward. I don't get enough time with Delaney, and every time I hear him talk, I'm just writing stuff down and taking notes because he's just so on it.
So these guys are going to be at every single one of these. Recruit to it, and don't wait till the week before. Start now. This doesn't cost for anyone to register. You can literally go get them registered. Sign up. It's going to be a good couple of hours for them to spend time. It's not going to cost them a dime, and it is going to be probably the highest level introduction that they can have to this opportunity. Period.
Okay, Mike.
Period.
This is Ron.
Yes.
You asked for commitments. My goal is to have 25 people in Orlando. My commitment is 20.
Love it.
Yo,
I'm
Jeff,
writing this
I'm gonna
down.
call out right now. Let's call Jeff out. He's in Lee Summit. He's how many people are you going to bring to Kansas City?
Well, I've started on my war market, and I'm definitely going to plan on at least. I'd like to see at least 3 to 5 that I can get there. So I'll see what I can.
Let's say 5 is a good minimum number, given that you have a month and a half to do it.
Yep.
And I think realistically 10 could be a very reasonable number because they're taking a Thursday to just go see a great opportunity. That'll get you.
Well, and the other thing we need to think about, okay, and let's just draw this to our cold market side, guys. We're recruiting, okay. We're recruiting in every single one of these, with the exception of I don't think we're doing Madison.
No, we're not doing Madison. We're doing Milwaukee currently. But every other place we've been recruiting in for a while.
So everyone, okay. There really should be no reason that everyone that's in the Visita system should be able to get people to these items. Literally in your recruiting process, you should say, I want you to go to this event. It's free. It will give you a good introduction to really the ins and outs of what we're doing, okay? There's no reason, as you guys are recruiting this month into February, that just needs to be a part of your expectation, okay? If they're even vaguely interested, I want you to go this. I want you to commit to going this. I expect you to go to this. If you're going to be a part of our agency and our organization, you need to put this on your calendar. I've got one in your area in Kansas City at such and such, March the 1st at 5 o'clock. Put it in the calendar. Let's get you registered. It's that easy, guys. So just commit to those items and leverage what it is that we have that we're recruiting on the cold market. And then you can feather in war market people as well. That's not a big deal. I think war market would be honestly very easy to get to these events.
It's probably your strongest tool with the war market is to say, hey, don't hear from me. Like, I know you. I know that's maybe not how our relationship works. Don't listen to me. Like, I'm living a great life. Sure, it's great. Come to this. Hear these people. Hear their perspective because they don't know you and they're not going to sugarcoat it. It's the strongest.
and be so candid. Like, okay, just come and see what I'm doing, and after we're done, let's go grab a beer. Like just let's hang out and talk about it. Like,
yeah,
I don't expect you to necessarily want to do everything that we're doing, but at the same token, I really want you to know what I'm doing so that there's a respect level for what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So enough said about that. The only other thing that I really want to just put a plug in because we're over time is pay attention to the people that actually have registered for conference. We are behind on what we're wanting. I know Chris wants to shave my head. I don't know that. I don't think that's going to happen. you know, he's trying to work out in order to try to tackle me. I mean, dude, you have no idea. I've got a scrawny little butt, and I can get away from pretty much anything. So, so let's kind of push on those numbers. I think we've got 22 or 23 hard registered. That's a split between Chris's agency, Santos agency, my base shop. There's a split there. I know Chris has got some pretty hard numbers on there, 50 in his group, and he's going to try to shave my head. So let's keep the ball rolling, get people registered, get them committed, utilize this as, again, one of the other, I had a conversation this morning with a guy that's out of Texas, told him, let's just plan on making it happen. I got a guy in Atlanta that's coming on board, Ricky. I told him, dude, I want you there. You're going to drive there. You're going to go there, okay? It's literally a drive, a hotel, a couple of hours, 2 days out, drive back. It's not a big deal. You need to be there. Okay, I'll do it. So, guys, it's just you having the level of conviction that this is an expectation, and you got to communicate that. That's it. It's that simple, okay? I don't think I have anything else to add. I appreciate you guys' time. I know that we went over a little bit. I apologize for that. But be blessed, guys. Have a great week, and looking forward to hearing from you guys Sunday, Monday, and hearing how things are going.
Thank you all.